In researching some of the most famous games in the history of chess, there are actually two very interesting features of this game. The first is the fighting tactics involved, and the second is a near first fight between the players Alekhine, the 4th and 6th world champion, and Reti, one of the strongest players to never hold the world champion title. Reti was one of the founding members of the Hypermodern approach to chess, and in particular opening theory. Delayed control of the center by setting up flank attacks is the foundation of this theory. A classical response, staking a claim in the center. Unusual and provocative, Reti is enticing Alekhine to push his e-pawn. Alekhine obliges. This knight is now roaming the board unsupported, not entirely. Unusual in the hypermodern train of thought. Black supports e4 and now apparently owns the middle of the board. He must be careful of overreaching, however, as white was obviously planning to conduct flank attacks anyway. An attempt to undermine black's strong central pawns. Alekhine gives up his advanced e-pawn and control of the middle. I guess the classical theme wasn't for him either. Apparently, Reti didn't want to open up the e-file by playing e-take d3. Attempting to catch up in development. Logical. In post-mortem, Alekhine admitted this move was a mistake. In analysis, he preferred c5. With this move and white's response, black basically trades a better bishop for a good one. Reti gets aggressive. By mixing it up in this fashion, Reti declares that he will be the one to control the flow of this game. Black is looking to play nc5 or nb for winning some tempo at the white queen's expense. Hitting the queen and d5. This knight now anchors its comrade on d4, almost forced to preserve the strength of his knight d5. With the plan of owning the weakened e-file. Rook to open file. I'm reminded of the old saying, when given the choice of which rook to move, spend extra time analyzing every possible ensuing continuation. Evaluate the strength of every piece. Figure out which rook will do the most good on the open file. Then move the other one. Strong developing move which prevents white from moving his e-pawn. Maintain the d-file while protecting e2 and allowing it to move. Alekhine is looking to dominate the light squares. Clearing room for the b-pawn to start advancing. And here is where my meager analysis hits a brick wall. Numerous grandmasters agree that at this point, the game should be drawn. By making this move, Alekhine is preparing himself for drinks in the hotel bar, followed by chasing some Fräuleins. He sees that if white plays bishop take bishop, he will play queen take bishop and then maneuver to play his knight g4, threatening mate on h2. Reti sees this as well and sidesteps. Come on, Richard, I'll buy the first round. Not on your life, Alexander. I say we play on. But I want drinks. You're going to have to beat me. I won't just tamely surrender a draw. Okay, draw. This position has been repeated 3 times. Can we please get some liquor now? At this point, Alekhine had actually gotten up and put on his coat. He signed his score sheet and gave it to the arbiter. Just as he is about to walk out of the room, Reti informs the arbiter that the position has only been repeated twice and that he wishes to play on. A huge shouting match between Alekhine and Reti follows, reportedly after much nose-to-nose screaming at each other. Alekhine is convinced by the arbiter that the game must continue. As they are sitting down again, Alekhine tells Reti once, "You retreat your bishop to g2, I will move my bishop to h3 and this game will be drawn. The clocks are restarted and then Reti plays." Perhaps feeling compelled to further anger the world champion. Now the real question must be asked. Is it possible that the reigning world champion wouldn't know if a position had been repeated 3 times? Or was this whole episode merely a psychological play to get Reti to move his bishop to h1, which makes a number of the tactics that follow possible? We will never know for sure, but the attack that follows is simply brilliant. Alekhine goes for the jugular. An attempt to undermine the strength of black's pawns on the queen's side. Defensive. Loading up on the c-file. Alekhine is already committed, so he presses on. Stockfish gives white a small advantage here. Virtually forced. If f take rook follow queen take g3, king f1, bishop h3 mate, a brilliant move. The majority of grandmasters in my research questioned this move. Although it does sort of just feel right, tactics abound from this point forward. Stockfish now gives black a solid edge. Forking the white queen and the e-pawn. White sees his e-pawn about to fall and shoots for material equality. White has maintained his material equality, but now has 2. Contend with this nasty fork on his king and rook. Forced as king f1 fails to bishop h3. Not bothering with a free rook, Alekhine reloads and comes out. With both barrels blazing, Kasparov called this one of the greatest queenless attacks ever. Reti's rook takes advantage of the last-minute reprieve and moves to a strong position. Alekhine picks up the pawn advantage and complicates things further. Anyone care to work out all of the possible continuations from here? Alekhine attacks Reti's rook c4 while clearing g4 for his knight to deliver check, driving the white king to the first rank where it will be met by another check from his rook a8. Reti sees the danger of moving his king to the first rank and voluntarily walks right into a discovered check. One last tactical shot by the champion. If white retakes, another nasty fork is his reward. Practically forced if white wants to gain anything. Inviting white to walk into the discovered check again. And a final fork $1, white will lose a piece after rook f2, knight take bishop, rook take knight, bishop d5 forking. The rook f3 and the knight b7. Reti resigned at this point.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.